Okay, broyos, today we are building another project car. Unfortunately, the Volvo has sold the track wagon. The track weapon that I was so excited about is gone, but it's not for a bad reason. And the reason is the following. I just got my old project car back, and I got it back running, so amazing and huge shout out to the bro Joseph. We have this kind of BMW triangle sell that we have where he buys a Beamer and then he sells it to me, and then I buy a Beamer and then I sell it to him, and it's just kind of like this weird BMW bromance that we have between each other. Besides the point, I got back the old project car, and the context to it is I was building it before the great virus in 2019, and it struck. I got fired from my job, not because of the kung flu, but I got fired for basically being a piece of shit employee. And the car had to go. I had bills to pay. I had my SRT Jeep at the time, had to pay that thing, and just something had to go. And unfortunately, it was my beloved car, but it is back in my hands. It is a good day. I got it back after about 5 years, and I'm so happy it's back, man. And this be it. This is the piece of shit. So yeah, this is the one that got away. This is the E30 that I was building before the kung flu hit, and the money pit just couldn't get it to run. And just Joseph came by and he wanted it, and he basically made me a deal that I couldn't refuse, and it left, which was very unfortunate. I hated every second of it. I was pretty upset about it for a while, but just fast forward until not too long ago, Joseph needed it gone, and he wanted to come back to me, mainly because I was kind of like the bro. I want to say the bro, and also because he wanted to go to somebody who would really enjoy it. And now that I got the car back, I definitely need to finish this project. It's like unfinished business with this thing, and thankfully he did most of the things that I couldn't figure out. So massive shout out to that man. He's just the shit, to be honest. Anyways, glizzy writing aside, I got the thing back and it runs and drives. I finally got it started. It took a while to diag it and to get it back into running condition, which he did have it in. But anyways, I decided to just start messing around with it a little bit today, and this is just kind of like the way that I would try to figure out some type of vacuum leak or some issue with a car. So that's exactly what I'm doing. It has a couple of issues, one of them being vacuum, or I think it's vacuum. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I have a eBay smoke detector that I bought, $70, I think it is, $60. I can't remember, but awesome. It just does its job very well. It's cheap and it gets me out of a lot of binds and headaches. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing right now. To start off, I already capped off the turbo or the intake. You want to cap that off just so the smoke doesn't come out and give you like a false illusion that you have a leak right here. Everything else should be capped off, and I should be getting no smoke coming out from here, so it's going to help us trace down most of our vacuum leaks. I did find this one initially, and that's the first one that I worked on. So I'm just going to kind of go through the rest of the thing. Boom, let it smoke. So I'm definitely going to start by the inside and look at my vacuum lines, and just make sure that everything from the ECU and to the boost gauge is fine. Looks like I have no leaks here, and I'm going to start making my way back into the engine bay. I just want to make sure that everything on the inside here is fine. So our magical smoke machine found our first smoke leak, or our first boost leak, and the leak itself is coming from the turbo. And I'm sure the culprit is, let's see if you can see it, right there. You can kind of see that little hole right there. I'm sure that's the guy that's causing the leak here on the turbo. Maybe without that bolt, the housing isn't sitting flush and actually leaking right there. But it's understandable why it's not there, because that oil drain line is really close to that said bolt. Now the other problem that I just realized is that I wasn't getting any leaks from anywhere but there, because the vacuum, or this feed line that I have from the smoke machine to the manifold is feeding it there. But I failed to realize that the actual line itself is feeding to the manifold, and the other end goes here to my fuel pressure regulator. This guy has a couple of boost lines that come off of it, and I have not connected this to this, so it makes sense that I haven't been able to trace more vacuum lines even on the inside. So now I know that we got a boost leak here, which putting a bolt there should save me there. I do have to remove the turbo in order to do that, and I do not have any turbo gaskets for it, so that one's going to stay as it is for the moment being, but we're going to hop on over to our next couple of leaks. I wanted the Diddy oil to vaporize so you could see how it would work, but I've already found my leak, and it's coming from the blow-off valve. If you push that right there, see, it's already pushing out a lot of that smoke. So another vacuum leak detected, so I'm gonna go ahead, get that one sorted out, probably just snip it from right here, move the line down and add a zip tie. A zip tie wouldn't hurt this thing, and then we can move on to the inside of the car and see if there's any more leaks coming from there. Awesome, so I got the blow-off valve vacuum line fixed. It took a little finessing, it took a little baby oil to get the thing on there, but it should work now. Now I just got to move on to the interior and check out the vacuum lines there. Cool, so now we're gonna hop on to the inside and start looking for leaks. And there is a T right here that leads, or obviously that feeds the ECU, and that feeds the boost gauge. Words, English. And I am sure that there has to be some sort of leak. Oh, good. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna let that be for a little bit. Is it coming from here? I can't tell if it's... Okay, so I popped off the boost line. Where'd it go? I popped off this boost line, and this one was very, very loose. And honestly, at this point, as I'm going, I'm probably just gonna zip tie all the boost lines that I come across, or all these vacuum lines that I come across, just to eliminate any chances that anything else is gonna leak. So this is gonna zip tied, this is getting zip tied, this guy's getting zip tied, and the one down there on the blow off valve also got zip tied. Just extra security. I want to make sure that everything stays where it's supposed to. Okay, so I got majority of them, the boost leaks, figured out, and honestly, how I said, I went ahead and I just put a zip tie around everything just to make sure, minus that one, just to make sure that everything is nice and tidy. The only problem now is that I figured that this line right here that tees off from right here and goes over to the inside, it's two different sizes, and it mates right here with that connector where my finger is, and that's kind of one of the issues, that this side's bigger, but that little bypass that it has right there, one side is smaller and that side is perfect on it. So this hose is about 1.5 foot section that leads to the inside of the car. So what I'm thinking is I could probably get another type of vacuum line, or same size vacuum line that will fit on this T, and just make sure that it's continuous to the inside, so that way I don't have to have these connectors right here, which are fail points to me. Okay, now if I reach in here and I tug on this slightly, it'll bring in that connector back there. Well, I guess not. But see, this is what I'm talking about. I had to add 2 zip ties to it. This one leads over to the boost gauge. So I have a boost leak to the boost gauge itself. So that's probably why I wasn't reading accurate. I was told the car ran about 14-15 pounds, which makes sense why I wasn't getting the 14-15 on the gauge, or on the on the gauge, or on the ECU either. So on the iDash. So now that I have this right here, it should help a substantial amount, at least on the idling and warm up and turning it on, because this thing is a bitch to turn on. But it makes sense. There's a lot of boost leaks, and there's a lot of unfinished little things that need to be just addressed, and I really don't know what to do with these ones, but we'll figure something out. Anyways, now that I have that figured out, I can turn on the car and I can run it around just a little bit, make sure that most of those things are figured out. The elephant in the room is going to be the turbo. The turbo is missing one of those backing plate bolts, so it does need to be added, tightened down, and I do need to retest the system, but it's getting kind of late. So with this work that I did, I'm relatively happy. It should run a lot better.